Elevators. We ride them all the time, right? We just step in, push a button, and trust them to get us where we're going. But have you ever stopped to think about what's actually happening behind those doors? It's this incredible hidden world of engineering, and we're going to pull back the curtain and see what it really takes to keep these machines running flawlessly.
And that's really what it all boils down to, isn't it? It's about trust. We trust this technology completely, every single day. So in this explainer, we're going to dig into the mechanics and the super strict standards that actually earn that trust. I promise, you'll never look at an elevator ride the same way again.
All right, so the first thing you've got to know is that not all elevators are built the same. Not even close. For the most part, they fall into two big categories. Each one is designed for a totally different world. You've got your everyday mid-rise buildings, and then you have the massive, towering skyscrapers. And how they work is just fundamentally different.
So on one hand, you have the geared elevator. Now, you can think of this one as the reliable workhorse. It's got a motor that's hooked up to a gearbox, kind of like the transmission in your car. It trades raw speed for more power, more torque, which gives it the muscle to lift heavy loads. These are the elevators you'll find in most of the buildings you go in and out of every day.
And then you have the gearless elevator. This is the high flyer, the speed demon. There's no gearbox at all. Instead, you've got this super advanced motor that connects directly to what's called the drive sheave. That's the big wheel with grooves that the cables run over. By taking out the gearbox, you have fewer moving parts, which means you get a much smoother, quieter ride, and of course, those incredible speeds you need for today's skyscrapers.
So let's just put them side by side for a second. The geared system, with its gearbox, it's like a power lifter. It's all about strength and reliability, but it tops out at a certain speed. Perfect for buildings up to, say, 25 stories. But the gearless system, that's your sprinter. It's built for pure speed and efficiency, which is absolutely essential if you want to get people to the top of a super tall building. It really is a story of brute force versus high-tech finesse.
Okay, so if these two systems are so different, it only makes sense that taking care of them would be different too, right? So let's start with our trusty workhorse, the geared elevator. What does it actually take to keep that thing running safely, day in and day out?
For the geared elevator, maintenance is all about good old-fashioned mechanical health. First up, lubrication. That gearbox is full of moving parts, and the oil has to be changed regularly to stop the gears from literally grinding themselves to dust. Second, alignment is key. Even a millimeter off can create these tiny vibrations that, over time, can shake the whole system apart. Third, the brakes. They are inspected constantly because at the end of the day, they are the ultimate fail-safe. And finally, you have the wiring. Every single connection is checked to prevent any electrical faults that could cause a sudden shutdown.
But what about the high flyer? Maintaining a gearless system, that's a whole other ballgame. When you're dealing with higher speeds and much more complex technology, the stakes and the demands for maintenance are just way higher.
Here, the focus completely shifts from mechanical parts to electronic precision. Instead of a gearbox, technicians are looking at the core of the motor itself, the rotor and the stator. And since these motors generate a ton of heat at high speeds, that cooling system has to be in perfect shape to prevent overheating. The cables are under so much more stress, so they're checked with crazy advanced tech, like ultrasound, to find tiny faults you could never see with the naked eye. And finally, they test the sophisticated speed controls, the VVF drive, which is the magic that gives you that perfectly smooth, seamless ride.
And this really gets to the core of it all. Speeds changes everything. The faster the elevator moves, the greater the forces are on every single component. That's why maintenance on these systems isn't just about routine checks. It has to be predictive. It's about using advanced monitoring to find the tiniest little issue before it could ever even think about becoming a real problem.
And by the way, this isn't just up to the individual maintenance companies to figure out. All of this careful work is governed by what you could call a global rule book. There are major international standards in place to make sure that no matter where you are in the world, an elevator has to meet an incredibly high bar for safety.
And if you look at the two big ones, you can actually see two different philosophies. In Europe, they have the EN81 standard, which is all about time. It requires strict monthly and annual inspections, no matter how much the elevator is used. It's a very rigid, predictable schedule. But in the US, the ASME A17.1 standard is based on usage. The more hours an elevator runs, the more service it gets. It's a more flexible system that adapts to how busy a building is. But here's the thing, even though the methods are different, they are both designed to hit the exact same non-negotiable target: total passenger safety.
Okay, so let's tie all of this together. We've looked at the different technologies, we've looked at the standards that keep them in check, so why does this modern, super specialized approach to maintenance matter so much?
Well, the payoff for doing all this meticulous work, is just huge. First off, a well-maintained elevator lasts longer, which protects a massive financial investment for the building owner. A perfectly tuned machine also runs with less friction, which means it uses less energy, making the whole building a little bit greener. But of course, every single one of those checks, every calibration, it all leads to the one thing that matters most: making sure every single passenger is safe.
And this really is the heart of it. You know, modern elevator systems, especially these high-speed gearless ones from pioneering companies like Puya, are incredibly sophisticated pieces of technology. You just can't use an old-school, one-size-fits-all approach to maintain them. This kind of cutting-edge tech demands equally advanced care to deliver on its promise of peak performance and, most importantly, absolute safety. So, if you're going to take anything away from this, what should it be? Well, first, not all elevators are the same. There's a huge difference between that geared workhorse and the gearless high flyer. Second, taking care of them is a highly specialized job that's tailored to the specific technology. Third, these international standards, they are the absolute backbone of our safety. And finally, the more advanced the tech gets, the more expert the care has to be. So the next time you're waiting for that ride and the doors slide open, maybe you'll just take a second to appreciate it all. That incredible hidden dance of engineering, meticulous maintenance, and global standards all working together in perfect harmony just to give you a safe, smooth ride to your floor.